All right, into the third weekend. Got quite a bit done this week. I think I average about 4 hours a day. Definitely rideable now. Some places better than others, but quite a lot of dirt. Got most of the big tire poppers out of the way. So roller. Okay, top fork. Let's see some of the work. So Jigawatt to Usain Bolt. Got a kicker to start. There's a little bit of a natural landing. I'll cut that in later. At some point, maybe I can get a little tractor out here and take care of this upper section. I won't be able to do too much with it because it gets pretty steep. Kind of wary of getting a tractor down there, but definitely this top section. Could take out some of the grass. All right, let's go into the Pikachu fork. We see some more work. So the Pikachu, now we have a kicker, a bit of a rock, a bit of a log that I had laying around, and got the landing roughed out. So hard right, definitely looks feasible now. If we go straight, we got the start of the ground fault skinny. It's pretty stable. I mean, it's not bolted in yet, but pretty stable. Definitely will be when it's secured. I have a chainsaw coming next week, and I'll be able to cut that and make it rideable. Then I'll clean up the entrance too, but definitely looking good. I'm excited to hit both of those. The skinny goes from, let's see, I think it's about 12 feet long. It goes from about 7 inches wide at the start to about 4 inches wide at the end. I don't know, maybe hip height. So I might cut a few inches off of that. Maybe make it downhill a little bit. It's right about level right now. Anyway, I'm pretty happy with that. It looks cool. Okay, let's back up. Okay, so we have Pikachu, ground fault, or we take the left into I Love Amp. This is probably the single biggest track that I improved. So got a nice little kicker, no real landing, but boost into this berm. Pick up speed. Boom. Off this big drop. So I figure this is gonna be pretty big, pretty fun. Let me get down there. Okay, if I'm looking back at it, I think minimum you dropped about here. That's maybe, I don't know, 4 feet or so, but it's just a gradual slope downhill. And so I think you could get about here. I went this up quite a bit. It's much less of a chicane, quite a bit easier. I think you can take it as big as you want. I think your limitation is really going to be speed out of that berm. And then hope you don't run wide and float into the berries. That would not be ideal. But, looking good. Okay, so generally I got everything raked up. I opened up this cross section quite a bit, made all the corners a bit easier. So from I Love Amp exit into the ground fault, going that way, it's quite a bit wider. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with that straight. I wanna put something there. I like the idea of like a two-way feature. So if we're coming through this way, maybe you have a little skinny and then pop off onto a single kicker. And then if you come at it from the Pikachu route opposite coming towards us, you can either hit the single or hit the single onto a skinny. I don't know. We'll see. All right, here's the Jigawatt Traverse. Got this cleaned up. I got a ton of dirt down here. It's pretty powdery, so I don't know how well it'll pack, but the jump itself should be a nice little hippie bit, and that feels pretty packed. I'm pretty happy with that. You can take it pretty straight off the short side, and there's really nothing to clear, no risk. It's going to be pretty tough to get caught up in those logs, I think. So, or you could go right off the end. If you're really cool, get it a bit sideways, something to build to. I don't know, that's maybe 12, 14 feet, like end to end. Once we're right here, next fork, I definitely opened this up a bit. It was looking exceptionally tight. So either way, down to the left steeps or the right steeps, you have an easier route. So let's look at the right first. Clean this up a bit. With the Jigawatt steep off to the left. That's definitely rideable. I don't really want to do anything else to it. It's clean enough. It's rough. That'll be fun. Back up. Now we take the hard right into the Pikachu step down. So more to come here. I want to put a nice big catch berm there so you can try to keep some speed. Slap into it. From here you have a couple options. So if you hang left, you have this little bump, and you can take it just a couple feet onto the, I don't know, whatever that down bit you want to call it. Or you can take the right side for the big step down. I measured this at probably, what was it? I think it was about 14 feet to the log, maybe 16 to like the brush on the far side, and it drops maybe 5 or 6 feet. I think again, you're really just going to be speed limited by coming down, trying to keep your speed up and floating off this. But my goal was to make it pretty low consequence. So even if your front tire hits, you know, right here on this log, really shouldn't be much of a risk. So I don't know, that looks like maybe a 4-foot drop from the step down. Or take a little bit further and actually hit the landing. And then run out. So I shaped this landing a bit. It's definitely more reasonable now. Kind of hip as much as you want off Pikachu, straight out, landed a bit of an angle. Okay, so we're back up at this top fork. Let's do Pikachu down. Go, definitely needs a little bit of shaping, but I like that bit of a roller. You can either roll over the rocks and the logs and drop, or hop over it. Again, it's intended to be low risk, so no problem to roll that. Pretty easy to clear. I think this is all pretty well downhill. I got that shaped out a little bit, at least roughly. I don't know, maybe I'll put a small landing bump in there, but it's probably downhill enough. Don't really need anything. Anyway, continue on. Definitely some grassy bits. Okay, so now we merge back with Usain Bolt. It's a bit bumpy in here. I tore out basically every fern stump I can. I don't mind the bumps like this that I'm on, that are really just give it some character. I don't want it to be a highway. But the fern stumps are pretty soft and annoying, so God, I feel like I probably tore out like 50 of them. Anyway, bit bumpy coming in, got it cleared out, widened it out in both ways, so it's less of a chicane, and I opened up this outside. So the intent here, I want to put that jump, I don't know, I think from here, boost down, and we can land anywhere, probably about here on to Usain Bolt. I think that can be a pretty good sized jump. I don't know, what's that, maybe 15 feet or so. Just justified on the right, so it'll still be about a 3-foot wide takeoff. You can cut hard left to Pikachu. Again, maybe that two-way, either single or single land on skinny. Soft left, and we can go towards ground fault. So once you're in the fork, hard left to do the ground fault bypass, and I've started this cutout for a skinny. Those logs are pretty heavy, so I got tired after this weekend and didn't want to move anymore. But anyway, I think a skinny right down here will work really nicely. It'll end up being about 12 feet long. I don't know yet if I'll just do kind of one continuous angle straight down, or maybe a kink, have it go straight out for 7 or 8 feet and then drop down. But maybe that's the next project. Anyway, come down here, ground fault. I opened this up, so it's quite a bit better now. You can rail the outside, apex on the inside, and I want to put the jump about here. So I think that'll end up being about, I don't know, 18, 19 feet if we jump off here. And again, no risk if you come up short, but the intent is to come out on that shared landing down there. And on this side, my next little plan to finish off ground fault is to have a pretty wide skinny. So you can either take the landing, take the jump, pop off, double, single, whatever you want, low risk, or you can ride the right side of it onto a bit of a platform. So wood platform on the right, maybe stops about here, drops a couple feet, maybe a 4-foot gap or something onto that shared landing again. I think that'll work out pretty well. So ending ground fault with the ideas of skinnies, but you can get a pretty big jump if you want that instead. Okay, we're back up at the main switch. Let's go down Jigawatt Traverse and look at the left steeps. So coming down, flying, big pop off the hip, land somewhere around here, but keep it straight this time. We'll go left. I opened this up a bit, smoothed it out. Still got a bit of work to do. Some of these root balls, these fern stumps, but it's definitely rideable. This is only gonna get cleaner. Smooth that out a little bit, just took out the biggest nastiness. Massive fern stump right here. Okay, and now we're at the bottom left steep fork. So left we have WhatsApp, straight, Hertz donut, hard right, I love amp. This one is gonna be sweet. So small roll in, maybe drops a foot or so, and then you have a rollable steep. So any way you take it should be fine. The intent is to drop down and land on the ramp. That's maybe a 5-foot drop if you take it down, or 7 if you take it closer to the bottom. Okay, so we back up and we get to Hertz donut. So I took out, again, smoothed that out a bit, took out those fern stumps, opened it up. It's still a pretty good right-hander, but now that steep has a couple different lines. You could try and hug way right and get around that biggest bulb out and kind of hook left. You can drop straight down, which has, I don't know what that ends up being, a foot drop or something, onto a bit of a knuckle right there. That might be kind of dangerous. I want to avoid like any over the bar type crashes, but anyway, or you could ride off the knuckle, kind of take it. So a few lines there. I think that'll be pretty sweet. A little more room to kind of get your composure, track stand in here if you need to, and set up. Maybe we'll find a line to kind of boost off to the right and hip into it. It's gonna be sweet. I can't wait to ride it. Okay, back up. Let's go to WhatsApp. So let's see, got this cleaned out. Found this big little log down. I'm gonna keep that in, jump it, miss it. It's gonna be annoying when it's slippery, but it's part of the fun. This hump will probably come out eventually, but we'll see. Okay, so from here, I opened this up. Now, opened up both the apex and the exit. So from here, we have a few different line options. If we stay hard right, definitely rollable, whole way down. At the bottom, you maybe have, I don't know what that ends up being, like maybe a foot drop. Easy to roll. Easiest way out of here if you miss the ground fault, which will have a big jump on it eventually. If we back up and take the middle line, pop, 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 right next to the stump, my intent is to have a step down here. I may need to build that up, just shape it a little bit, but it's pretty solid as it is. Finally got down to reasonable dirt after I took out a bunch of ferns. But anyway, I think that ends up being like a 12-foot gap, maybe a 2 or 3 foot drop. Again, pretty low risk to take it as far as you want. But then the big dream, the large jump on WhatsApp. So if we back way up into the straight, I'd like to build a wood platform. So we get up on the wood and we go over the stump on top of it. I need to shape that a little bit. Oh boy. And then come from up here. So that adds maybe a couple feet of distance, couple feet of height from the midline step down. Gives you a wood feature, and that's going to be pretty big too. I'm excited for that. Oh, that's going to be great. Okay. That's WhatsApp from below. I don't know if you can really see much, but try to get a couple different angles. So, bit of a drop, bit of variety. So, kind of see the variations. Plenty of spots to just kind of hop and float. All right, I want to finish off with just looking at the other steeps. So this is the bottom of Hertz Donut. You can see it kind of slopes down right. Big rabbit hole. I've seen a bunch of those tunnels around. It makes it nice because they build a big pile of dirt right outside of their tunnels, and it makes it pretty easy. It gives me something to work with without, you know, hurting their habitats. Well, that's convenient. Anyway, you can kind of see a couple different options forming there. If we step off to our left, get a better look at the I Love Amp steep. This is certainly like the biggest steep. So we'll land probably about here, and you can see, I don't know, it's above my head. That's maybe 6, 7 feet. Step up to this step and you can see, what are we at now? 4 or 5 feet? 5 feet probably. It's like shoulder height. So I think that'll be good progression too. Roll, small drop, big drop. Drop to flat if you're ballsy and want to hurt yourself. Got the Jigawatt, nice and raw, doesn't need anything. I'm really happy with that. There's an old deer trail and it's perfect. All right, we already looked at ground fault coming straight at us. Nice easy run out. Low wrist, take it as big as you want, or the Pikachu hip. You can practically straight line it if you want, but the intent is to try to get a turn in. Run out, cut hard left into home sweet home. If we get to the edge of the property, we come to our last steep Usain Bolt. Definitely rideable. Again, rough, but that's the intent. Got all the garbage swept off it. I don't really want to make it any wider. I don't know, and a couple little things like that I'll probably cut out. Just annoying. Doesn't add any fun. All right, what a week. What a week.